Hey guys, welcome back to Crawford Farms. Today, well, it's fall. The leaves are changing, the weather is getting cooler, so we're gonna be doing garden cleanup. And we have a lot of these small little fall melons, right? That as the temperature and the weather conditions have started to be more suitable for watermelons, they're trying to produce, but of course the season's way too short. It's just gonna get cold and probably freeze in the next few weeks. So they're not gonna produce, but it's a perfect treat for the cows. So let's get to cleaning. Fall is my favorite time of year. Every time I pick one of these up, I'm hoping, I just want to cut it open to double check that it's not red. Never is. Fall is, I mean, look, leaves are changing, it cools off. It's like that perfect weather, you know, around 70 degrees, sun shining, a good breeze. So it's just ideal from a weather perspective, but you know, the shift is, again, it's a lot of cleanup. Getting all of this up and getting the soil turned and just kind of letting it sit throughout winter. Then, and I mean, look, some portions we're gonna kind of grow some of our greens. So there will be a small winter crop like kale, mustard green, turnip greens, and that kind of thing, arugula, so forth. And we do have some radishes and that kind of thing still coming in, but for the most part, again, it's a big cleanup from the summer months. I put this large tarp down and literally cut 2 small holes for my watermelon plants, and this whole area is covered in a green vegetation. But it allows the watermelon to not have to compete with weeds, because obviously it's quite difficult to keep the weeds cut or pulled when the canopy of watermelon vine gets as thick as it does. So I found that this tarp has just been super helpful to get a full yield. And I'm not saying this is how everyone should garden, but this is how we did it by accident one year, and it served us well, is that we had an area where we were gonna garden, and my wife had put down like a cover crop, and it turned into a big weed garden. And as a result, all of the insects stayed in the weed garden and they never came into our vegetables. So we started a trend to where every year we have like this little space, and then we have just a strip that we just let it all completely go without cutting it the entire summer. And it kind of, again, becomes our weed garden, and we'll mix in certain cover crops with it, but I will then take this and bush hog it all down, and we'll start over again next year. But with that, it allows me to take all of this stuff off of my tarp and have a place for it to go. And then I can, as I said, kind of turn it all in, and the next year, the garden will be moved back. So we never want to kind of use the same section. We're always kind of rotating our crop so that we don't burn the soil out. Because I'm doing such a small area, normally we would just, you know, till the whole thing with the tractor. But since I'm doing isolated spots, I'll use this little hand tiller, get a workout at the same time. So I'm gonna turn all this, I'll turn in the weeds that I just weed eated down, and that'll start to break down. But the dirt area, what we're gonna do is we'll put a winter crop down, which when we turn that into spring, it's gonna put a lot of nutrients back into the soil, so it'll be good to start growing again. So we just finished up turning where we had our watermelons. So we rotate. We pretty much use the same large rectangle going back behind where our weed garden is, but we just rotate everything. So next year the watermelons will be down there, and this whole area we might leave as a cover crop and then just till the area back there to give the soil time to rebuild. But also with the cover crops, That'll put nitrogen back in the soil and restore it so that it'll produce a healthy crop next spring. That's why we do it. Look, this work is challenging enough. The last thing you want is your equipment not to be working, right? Because if you have to spend time fixing, you do very little working. So you just have to maintain your equipment. It's obviously the least fun, but again, you spend half your day working on something because you neglected it. You've lost that day. So these are melons that are